APAC. We are picking up with Dante's Inferno. And again, I apologize for the glare. I don't, because I can't do it off my phone and I don't have it like printed out. It's on the computer, or on the screen. So, sorry. All right. Canto 8. I say, continuing, that long before we to the foot of that high tower had come, our eyes went upward to the summit of it, by reason of two flamlets we saw placed there, and from afar another answer them, so far that hardly could the eye attain it, and to the sea of all discernment turned I, said, What saith this, and what respondeth the other fire? And who are they that made it? And he to me, across the turbid waves, what is expected thou canst now discern, if reek of the morass conceal it not. Cord never shot an arrow from itself, that sped away athwart the air so swift, as I beheld a very little boat come o'er the water towards us at that moment, under the guidance of a single pilot, who shouted, Now art thou arrived, fell soul? Feligus, Feligus, thou criest out in vain for this once, said my lord. Thou shalt not have longer than in the passing of the sloth. As he who listens to some great deceit that has been done to him and then resents it, such became Feligus in his gathered wrath. My guide descended down into the boat, and then he made me enter after him, and only when I entered seemed it laden. Soon as the guide and I were in the boat, the antique prow goes on its way, dividing more of the water than 'tis wont with others. While we were running through the dead canal, uprose in front of me one full of mire, and said, Who art thou that cometh ere the hour? And I to him, Although I come, I stay not. But who art thou that hast become so squalid? Thou hast seen that I am one who weeps, he answered. And I to him, With weeping and with wailing, thou spirit maledict, do thou remain. For thee I know thou art all defiled. Then stretched he both his hands unto the boat, whereat my wary master thrust him back, saying, Away there with the other dogs. Thereafter with his arms he clasped my neck. He kissed my face and said, Disdainful soul, blessed be she who bore thee in her bosom. That was an arrogant person in the world. Goodness is none that decks his memory. So likewise here his shade is furious. How many are esteemed great kings up there, who here shall be like unto swine in mire, leaving behind them horrible dispraises. And I, my master, much should I be pleased if I could see him soused into this broth before we issue forth out of the lake. And he to me, Ere unto thee the shore reveal itself, thou shalt be satisfied. Such a desire 'tis meet thou shouldest enjoy. A little after that I saw such havoc made of him by the people of the mire, that still I praise and thank my God for it. They all were shouting, At Filippo Argenti! And that exasperate spirit Florentine turned round upon himself with his own teeth. We let him there, and more of him I tell not, but of mine ears they smote a lamentation, whenceforward I intent unbar mine eyes. And the good master said, Even now, my son, the city draweth near, whose name is Dis, with the grave citizens, with the great throng. And I, Its mosques already, master, clearly. Within there in the valley I discern vermilion, as if issuing from the fire they were. And he to me, the fire eternal that kindles them within, makes them look red as thou beholdest in this nether hell. Then we arrived with the moats profound that circumambulated that disconsolate city. The walls appeared to me to be of iron. Not without making first a circuit wide, we came unto a place where loud the pilot cried out to us, "Debark! Here is the entrance." More than 1,000 at the gates I saw, out of the heavens rained down, who angrily were saying, "Who is this that without death goes through the kingdom of the people dead?" And my sagacious master made a sign of wishing secretly to speak with them. A little then they quelled their great disdain and said, "Come thou alone, and he be gone who has so boldly entered these Come thou alone, and he be gone who has so boldly entered these dominions. Let him return alone by his mad road. Try if he can, for thou shalt here remain, who has escorted him through such dark regions." Think, reader, if I was discomforted at utterance of the accursed words, for never to return here I believed. O my dear guide, who more than 7 times hast rendered me security and drawn me from imminent peril that before me stood, do not desert me, said I, thus undone, and if the going further be denied us, let us retrace our steps together swiftly. And that Lord who had led me thitherward said unto me, "Fear not, because our passage none can take from us. It by such is given. But here await me, and thy weary spirit, comfort and nourish with a better hope, for in this netherworld I will not leave thee." So onward goes, and there abandons me my father sweet, and I remain in doubt, for no and yes within my head contend. I could not hear what he proposed to them, but with them there he did not linger long. Ere each within in rivalry ran back, they closed the portals, those our adversaries, on my Lorn's breast, who had remained without, and turned to me with footsteps far between. His eyes cast down, his forehead shorn had he of all its boldness, and he said with sighs, "Who has denied me the dulsome house?" And unto me, "Thou, because I am angry, fear not, for I will conquer in the trial. Whatever for defense within be planned, the arrogance of theirs is nothing new, for once they used it at less secret gate, which finds itself without a fastening still. O'er it didst thou behold the dead inscription, and now this side of it descends the steep, passing across the circles without escort, one by whose means this city did not mean that. This city shall be opened. All right. Canto number 9. That hue which cowardice brought out on me, beholding my conductor backward turn, sooner repressed with him his new color. He stopped attentive, like a man who listens, because the eye could not conduct him far through the black air and through the heavy fog. "Still it behove us to win the fight," began he, "else such offered us herself. Oh, how I long that someone here arrive." Well I perceived, as soon as the beginning he covered up with what came afterwards, that they were words quite different from the first, but none the less his sayings gave me fear, because I carried out the broken phrase, perhaps to a worse meaning than he had. Into this bottom of the doleful conch doth any air descend from the first grade? which for its pain has only hope cut off? The question put I, and he answered me, seldom it comes to pass that one of us maketh the journey upon which I go. True is it, once before I here below was conjured by that pitiless Eretto, who summoned back the shades unto their bodies. Naked of me, short when the flesh had been, before within the wall she made me enter, to bring a spirit from the circle of Judas, that in the lowest region and the darkest and farthest from heaven, which circles all, well known I the way, therefore be reassured, this fen, which a prodigious stench exhales, encompass about the city dolent, where now we cannot enter without anger. And more he said, but not in mind I have it, because mine eye had altogether drawn me towards the high tower with the red flaming summit, where in a moment saw I, swift uprisen, the three infernal furies stained with blood, who had the limbs of women and their men, and with the great hydras were begirt. Small serpents and cerastes were their tresses, wherewith their horrid temples were entwined, and he who well the handmaids of the queen of everlasting lamentation knew, said unto me, behold the fierce Erene, this is Megaria on the left-hand side, she who is weeping on the right, Electo. Tisiphone is between, and then was silent. Each one her breast was rending with her nails. They beat them with their palms and cried so loud that I for dread pressed close unto the poet. Medusa come, so we to stone will change him, all shouted, looking down. An evil hour avenged we not on Thusis his assault. Turn thyself around and keep thine eyes closed shut, for if the Gorgon appears and thou shouldst see it, no more returning upward would there be. Thus said the master, and he turned me around himself, and thrust not unto my hands, so far as not to blind me with his own. O ye who have undistempered intellects, observe the doctrine that conceals itself beneath the veil of the mysterious verses. And now there came across the turbid waves the clangor of sound with terror fraught, because of which both of the margins trembled, not otherwise it was then of a wind, impetuous on account of adverse heats, that smite the forest, and without restraint the branches rend, beat down and bears away, right onward laden with dust. It goes superb, and puts to flight the wild beasts and the shepherds. Mine eyes he loosed and said, direct the nerve of vision now along that ancient foam, there yonder where that smoke is most intense. Even as the frogs before the hostile serpents across the water scattered all about until each one is hurled in the earth. More than 1,000 ruined souls I saw thus fleeing from before one who on foot was passing over the Styx. With souls unwet, from off his face he fanned the unctuous air, waving his left hand oft in front of him. And only with that anguish seemed he weary. Well I perceived one sent from heaven was he, and to the master turned, and he made sign that I should quiet stand and bow before him. Ah, I, how disdainful he appeared to me. He reached the gate, and with a little rod he opened it, for there was no resistance. O banished out of heaven, people despise. Thus he began with the horrid threshold. Whence is this arrogance within you couched? Wherefore recalcitrate against that will, from which the end can never be cut off, and which has many times increased your pain. What helpeth it to butt against the fates? Your Cerberus, if you remember well, for that still bears his chin and gullet peeled. Then he returned along the miry road and spake no word to us, but had the look of one whom other care constrains and goads than that of him who is present is. And we our feet directed towards the city. After those holy words, all confident, within we entered without any contest, and I, who inclination had to see what the conditions such a fortress holds, soon as I was within, cast round mine eyes, and see on every hand an ample plain, full of distress and torment terrible, even as at Arles, where stagnant grows the Rhone, even as at Pola, near to the Quarno that shuts in Italy and bathes its borders. The sepulchres made all the place uneven, so likewise did they there on every side, saving that there the manner was more bitter, for flames between the sepulchres were scattered, by which they so intensely heated were, that iron more so asks not any art. All of their coverings uplifted were, and from them issued forth such dire laments. Soothe seemed they of the wretched and tormented, and I, my master, what are all those people who have sepulchred within those tombs make themselves audible by doleful sighs? And he to me, here are the heresiarchs with their disciples of all sects, and much more than thou thinkest laden are the tombs. Here like together with it like is buried, and more and less the monuments are heated. And when he to the right had turned, we passed between the torments and high parapets. Okay. Drink break. Goodness. Brutal. All right. Canto 10. Now onward goes along a narrow path between the torments and the city wall. My master and I follow at its back. O power supreme, that through these impious circles turnest me, I began, as pleases thee, speak to me, and my longing satisfy. The people who are lying in these tombs, might they be seen? Already are uplifted the covers all, and no one keepeth guard. And he to me, they all will be closed up when the Jehoshaphat, they shall return, here with the bodies that they have left above. The cemetery have upon this side with Epicurus all his followers, who with the body mortal make the soul. But in the question thou dost put to me, within here shalt thou soon be satisfied, and likewise in the wish thou keepest silent. And I, good leader, I but keep concealed from thee my heart, that I may speak the less, nor only now hast thou thereto disposed me. O Tuscan, thou who through the city of fire goest alive, thus speaking modestly, by please to stay thy footsteps in this place, thy mode of speaking makes thee manifest, a native of that noble fatherland, to which perhaps I too molestful was. Upon a sudden issued forth this sound from out of one of the tombs wherefore I passed, fearing a little nearer to my leader. And unto me he said, Turn thee. What dost thou? Behold, there Farinata, who has risen. From the waist upward, wholly shalt thou see him. I had already fixed mine eyes on his, and he arose erect with breast and front, and as if hell he had in great despite, and with courageous hands and prompt my leader thrust me between the sepulchre towards him, exclaiming, Let thy words explicit be. As soon as I was at the foot of his tomb, somewhat he eyed me, and, as if disdainful, then asked me, Who were thine ancestors? I, who, desirous of obeying was, concealed it not, but all revealed to him, whereas he raised his brow a little upwards. Then said he, fiercely adverse have they been to me and to my fathers and my party, so that several times I scattered them. If they were banished, they returned on all sides. I answered him, the first time and the second, but yours have not acquired the art aright. Then there uprose upon the right, uncovered down to the chin, a shadow at his side. I think he had risen on his knees. Round me he gazed as if solitude. He had to see if someone else were with me, but after his suspicion was all spent, weeping, he said to me, if through this blind prison thou goest by loftiness of genius, where is my son, and why is he not with thee? And I to him, I come not of myself. He who is waiting yonder leads me here, whom in disdain perhaps your Guido had. His language and the mode of punishment already unto me had read his name. On that account my answer was so full. Upstaring suddenly he cried out, how saidest thou he had? Is he not alive? Does not the sweet light upon his eyes? When he became aware of some delay, which I before my answer made, supine, he fell again, and forth appeared no more. But the other, magnanimous, at whose desire I had remained, did not his aspect change, neither his neck he moved, nor bent his side. And if, continuing his first discourse, they have the art, he said, not learned aright the movement, the more tormenteth me than doth this bed. But 50 times shall not rekindled be the countenance of the lady who reigns here, ere thou shalt know how heavy is that art. And as thou wouldest to the sweet world return, say why that people is so pitiless against my race in each one of its laws. Whence I came to him, the slaughter and great carnage which have with crimson stained the Arbia, caused such orison in our temple to be made. After his head he with a sigh had shaken, there one was not alone, he said, nor surely without a cause had the others moved. But there I was alone, where every one consented to the laying waste of Florence, he who defended her with open face. Ah, so hereafter may your seed repose, I him entreated. Solve for me that knot which has entangled my conceptions here. It seems that you can see, if I hear rightly, beforehand whatsoever time brings with it, and in the present have another mode. We see like those who have imperfect sight the things, he said, that distance are from us. So much still shines on us the sovereign ruler. When they draw near or are, is wholly vain, our intellect, and if none brings it to us, not anything know we of your human state. Hence thou canst understand that wholly dead will be our knowledge from the moment when the portal of the future shall be closed. Then I, as if compunctious for my fault, said, now then you will tell that fallen one that still his son is with the living joined, and if just now in answering I was dumb, tell him I did it because I was thinking already of the error you have solved me. And now my master was recalling me, wherefore more eagerly I prayed the spirit that he would tell me who was with him there. He said, with more than 1,000 here I lie. Within here is the second Frederick, and the cardinal, and of the rest I speak not. Therein he hid himself, and I toward the ancient poet turned my steps, reflecting upon that saying which seemed hostile to me. He moved along, and afterward, thus going, he said to me, why art thou so bewildered? And I, in his inquiry, satisfied him. When thou shalt be before the radiant sweet of her whose beauteous eyes all things behold, from her thou'lt know the journey of thy life. Unto the left hand then he turned his feet, and left the wall and went toward the middle, along a path that strikes into a valley. Oh, okay. We will stop there. So, goodness. I apologize again for any mispronunciations, especially a lot of these names. I can't say them. I've never heard them or seen spelling like this. And some of this is actually written in more of like ye old English. And so it's like a little hard to read fluidly. So I do apologize. If this was written in a more modern tongue, I'd probably be able to read it, but it wouldn't have as poetic quality as much. So, that's it. I plan to keep posting these videos until it's finished. So hopefully I can do it before the month of October is over. If not, I'm sorry. Stay tuned because they will be here, and, click the links, check out my Patreon in the description, and, like, subscribe, ring the bell so you can keep up with these and make suggestions on other types of content you'd like. Until next time, howl at the moon.